Okay, I have an idea of what to talk about today. I've made a list of it here. It is 23 lessons learned throughout my 23 years. Um, right, so yeah, before I begin, I was making up so much excuses to do this video. Like the fact that all my body's really sore because I was invited to go to the gym yesterday, I think. And yeah, a friend was pushing me so hard to do lifting weights. And yeah, I just ended up really sore this morning. So I was making up a bunch of excuses. That was the main one. But you know what? I just say fuck you excuses. Okay, so I have got this idea of doing 23 things that I have realized that I have learned from the past 23 years. So we will start off with the first one, which is saying not starting something. So yeah, I tend to not start something because of being afraid, being really insecure that I wouldn't be able to actually start. And also another reason is because everything has to be perfect. Like I mentioned in my last video, everything has to be perfect. The fact that I didn't edit the video or make my titles too great or my descriptions, the way I talk, the way I present, planning out stuff. I didn't do anything that perfect from the last video. Neither am I gonna do it for this video either. Even though I have something listed to say what I want, because it does help me a little bit instead of just waffling about of what to actually say, because I really do that all the time. I jump from one place to another, and it's likely that I'm gonna do that a lot in this video. So yeah, not start something. I just feel like everything has to be done perfect. And as well, sometimes people will say, nah, you can't do this, it's not meant for you, or it's too hard for you, you shouldn't do this and that, this and that, blah 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 blah. Just start something. By the way, the things I've listed here could also tie into all the other reasons, all the other things as well. So this reason ties into some of the other reasons I've listed. But we'll move on to the second one, which is not finishing things, which I think is almost as important as not starting. I mean, almost as important as starting something. So when you're starting something, you want to be able to finish it so that, life is complete, you've achieved life. But seriously, not finishing things is so bad, and I am one of them that doesn't finish things. So for example, I've done loads of stuff. For example, my previous YouTube channels. I had a music channel, I had a gaming channel. So I only had a couple of videos for my music channel, but I never actually grew with it. So I don't know, I probably stuck to it for 2 or 3 months. But you can say define finishing things. Well, yeah, that's a good point. I have started and finished all of those videos. But I'll try and give some other examples. So here's a good one. Building or creating my website portfolio. So I was a web developer, and I didn't actually have a portfolio, which is pretty lucky of me to actually get a job, because all I did was hand in my CV, and I didn't really show anything else. Just hand in my CV, hand in my cover letter, and then a few days after, I got a call from them saying they are interested in me joining, or if I am interested in joining. So I was like, okay, sure, yeah. The whole thing of getting in, I got in. To be fair, it's really dumb of me not to do a portfolio because I think these days, to actually get in to to the programming industry, or like pretty much most industries will expect you to have like a portfolio of some sort. I didn't finish my portfolio. I even tried to do it while I was at work, because I was trying to get another job somewhere else, but I ended up not doing it because I don't actually like being a web developer or anything to do with programming. So that's why I stopped doing the portfolio. But then again, it's so beneficial if you finish something, because you can always go back to it and just say, oh, I've done this, It's always like a backup plan for you to go to if everything else doesn't work out, basically. So yeah, that's what I've learned. Finish your things, start your things, finish them. Most of the time it's going to be good for you. It's going to be really good for you. Third one is indecisiveness. I'm a pretty indecisive guy. So the way my brain works is that I see two sides of the argument, and I see them almost as equal. That's why my brain is conflicted on what side I should take. That happens a lot, like every situation of my life, I would say. I would say I'm much better now, but I'll go to why I was really indecisive. So, like I said, I saw two sides of the argument, and I saw two of them as valid, and I didn't know what to choose from the two. So I ended up being like, oh, I'm really unsure, and that's probably why I was called. I was judged by like friends and people saying that, I'm really indecisive, or I have no opinions, which is kind of true, because I'm not actually sticking to my guts on a certain side, but I still do think, like deep inside of me, I think there's always two sides of the argument, and both of them are valid. But the only thing I have to realize is, in certain situations where, for example, at work, you do have to decide. You do have to make a decisive decision. Is that a valid way to say it? I don't know. Yeah, you have to be really assertive at work. Not really assertive, but like assertive enough that you get the work done. So that's what I realized at work, is to be able to make decisions, just like that, which I would say I've improved a little bit. I wouldn't say like dramatically, but it has given me insight to actually decide better, and I have made some progress in like trying to decide for people. Whenever I hang around with people who are indecisive, just like myself, then yeah, I do have to step up sometimes and decide for us collectively together. But if it was in a group, for example, I would let someone else decide. But sometimes it's good to decide on your own what you think is the best way to do things. So yeah, you have to see which one outweighs the other. So whether the pros outweigh the cons, or the cons outweigh the pros. That's my ideal way of doing things now, just seeing that. So the fourth one, oh my god, there's 23. I'm not even sure if I can do this. Oh, okay. It's gonna be a long one. I might split it into two videos. The fourth one is spending too much money. Now, this was relevant in my time in uni. So the 3 years in uni, that was the prime time of me spending too much money. Reason why? Well, uni It's most of the time people will see uni as a way to get out there and be social with other people. You know, it's like a community. You build groups and stuff to socialize with them. And money was one of them where I lacked in, because I wasn't careful in what I was spending in. I would, like, for example, in the third year, my final year of uni, I would always get takeaway every day with a friend, and I would not pay attention to what's going on in my bank account, like nothing whatsoever. It's sort of like being insecure of like how much money you have in the bank and not checking it because you feel insecure. So spending money for takeaways, spending money on drinks, partying, going out to clubs, food and drinks in general is my downfall. It actually is my downfall. And I just wasn't afraid to spend money, because it's not that I wasn't afraid. It was just whenever I saw someone spending money, I would go with the flow and try and follow them, kind of like a sheep. Never did I once deny that, you know what, like, hey, you know what, I'm not actually gonna get a takeaway today. I'm gonna save money. Like, it was sort of a cool way, you know, of just, like, I felt like to be cool, you gotta spend money and not be afraid of doing stuff. So in that sense, yeah, I just needed to save money a lot. And after uni, that's when I realized, wow, okay, holy shit, I'm going into the like negative zone in my bank account, and that's what I needed to save money. I actually properly saved money. I got an app that was checking my budgets. So what I did was I was getting income from work, so I got all those calculations for how much I get like per month for income, and how much I spend on my expenses that I usually spend on. And then you look at those differences and you see how much you can actually save. And it tells you how much money you get like every day. And if you decide to spend on something, then it'll tell you like, this is how much you have left until you go to the negative zone. So that was really helpful. Yeah, like, lesson there, just save your money, otherwise you'll know what the consequences is. Because I've heard from a lot of people that they've gone down, like really downhill into the debt zone, and I don't want to do that. So never again, like, spend on takeaways every day. Not a good thing. So fifth one, trial and error. Trial and error basically means just try something. So start something. If it doesn't work out, then you can always go to the next one. But it's always important to finish things, I feel like, anyway. But defining when to finish things, that's another thing to consider. But yeah, because when you're trying something, you get to know what you actually want. So it narrows down your options, because I've got so many options that I want to do in life, like so many things. Like, I want to pursue a music career at one point. I wanted to be a dancer. I'm a shit dancer. I wanted to act. I wanted to be in the army. I wanted to be a priest at one point. But sure, you can try these things, right? You're hopeless if you don't actually go and try these things, because if you're just thinking it in your mind and you're not actually doing something about it, you'll never know whether you like it or not. So you need to try it, see if it works out. If it does work out, continue. Until it doesn't work out, then just go to the next one. So sixth one is being aware of your emotions in the moment. Yeah, this is something that is quite difficult to actually do. I would say for most people. I definitely know that it's really difficult for me. When I say being aware of your emotions, so say for example, if you were like in an argument with someone, you unleash your havoc onto someone, but you don't actually realize like how your emotions are feeling. How are you actually feeling? Because most people don't. They let everything out. All they care about is just kind of like tunnel visioning, like unstoppable rage, basically. But they don't actually realize what's going in their head. And sometimes I pick up on these things. So when I'm in an argument, I realize that I get really defensive. I realize that I have to clarify things for people to see. Yeah, just to clarify and defend myself, like why I'm not this case, for example. And then I realize, yeah, I'm getting really defensive. Why do I need to get defensive? Why not just accept that some of the things they say is actually right, and just let them know, yeah, okay, sorry, man. Like, I'm the one who's at fault here. Basically, kind of like taking the blame, saying like, okay, I've done this wrong. Like, this is what I can do. Is this a way that can like resolve the conflict between us? So that is the thing. That is like awesome when you realize like what's happening to you. Seventh one is knowledge is powerful. Knowledge is really powerful, but something that I really need to work on, because most of the things I say is based on what feels right, but I never back up my points with any evidence. Sometimes it's like based on assumptions and not real facts, which is okay. Sometimes it's okay to say what feels right, but sometimes maybe you have to validate yourself to some other people who think like, where's your facts? Do some research or something like that. This is where knowledge comes in. Like, knowledge is really good for that, because you do some research, you check whether your point is valid from some people. If it's based on opinions, that's fine, but like based on more of like the academic side and maybe politics or something like that, yes, it can be facts can come in the right place for there. So with knowledge, yeah, what I do is I try and learn what's going on bit by bit. Like, I'm not good at learning stuff, I would say. I was never good at school. I never took too much time to actually fully absorb the information. I would always take it to a grain of salt, which is kind of bad. I should really just take in most of the relevant information, but not like a tiny bit. It should be something of a substance that I can actually say, hey, this is what happened, and this is how I feel. That's what knowledge, how I think knowledge provides me, like something that I can validate from, and for me to say, hey, this is what I think because of this. 8. Oh my god, we're on 8. How long is this? It's been 20 minutes. I'll do up to 10, I think, and then we'll see. You don't know that person. Okay, so I wrote that down. You don't know that person. While people criticize or glorify someone, they have the right to do that. But from my opinion, it's the fact that you're not actually close to that person. So for me to say something bad about him or her, or to say something good about them, to defend a point, it's just not for me. Say, for example, for like a celebrity, for example, If they've done something really bad, sure, you can definitely like go full out. If there is evidence, if there's facts to say that this person is bad, then yeah, of course, go right ahead, like blame them. But to say that they are this and this alone is not what I fully agree with, because humans are really in depth, and we have different things going on, and we sometimes people are painted a picture that is just one dimensional. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just really narrow minded, and it doesn't consider all the facts what this person is going through in their life. Like, have you considered their past life? Have you considered what's going on behind the scenes when they're at home? Their childhood, what they're going through in their mind, all these things. This is what I've learned, like, is the fact that you don't know that person until you actually get to know them personally. You live with them for a long time. So this is why you sort of know, like, most people know their families if they live with them and they share their thoughts. I mean, in some cases, yeah, sometimes, like, maybe you don't really talk to your parents or something like that, sure. Sometimes you don't know your family, but then I bet that you know your family more than most people. So that is my point there. So number 9 is say yes more. For me, saying yes more is difficult because it's funny because a lot of vices out there is to say no more. But for me, I turn down a lot of things, and it's mostly for the social aspect. It's sometimes for work as well, but not like in work. You know, I never turn down work. Like, I work hard at it, but if there was opportunities at work for a new type of work, then sometimes I turn it down because I'm not really interested in it. By saying yes more, it leads you to more opportunities. So in that case, yeah, it helps. This ties in with trial and error. That reason, that lesson there, because yeah, you never know until you actually try. So yeah, this is kind of similar. So say yes more for me. Don't turn down on some people because you never know what happens. You know, at least try it once, basically. Right, number 10. I'm gonna pause for a bit after 10, I think. Whew. Man, I didn't think this would be difficult, but it is really difficult. 10. Money isn't evil. It's how we use it. So yeah, like, ever since I was a kid, like, I always thought money was evil. Like, why do people depend on money so much? Like, why couldn't we just have a world without money? Because money is evil, like the root of evil, blah blah blah. That's what I always thought as a kid up until like a few years ago. So yes, money is evil. No. That's not what I'm saying. Yes, it can be perceived as evil, but it isn't money. It's kind of like the gun argument where, you know, guns are evil. Guns are not evil. It's the people using the guns that are actually evil. Like, the way they're using it. So it's the same with money. Like, it's the way you use it. Like, what's your intention in using this money? Is it, like, the way you use it determines whether you're doing something good with it or bad. So in this case, with the goods of money, it helps you sustain yourself in life. So having a stable living basically. Like, without money, then you wouldn't have a home. Without money, you wouldn't have all this and that. And it sort of keeps everyone sort of in check. Now, I don't have too much facts about all this, but this is what feels right. So money, there is a reason why money is built, right, for the systems worldwide. If we didn't have that system right now, like, it would fall over the place. Of course, there must be some other alternative system of doing things, but that would take a while to actually sort of develop and maintain, because money has been around for like years, thousands of years. And yeah, so we just have to accept that money is sort of part of our lives, but not something we should use idly, you know, just throwing your money out there. That's not the way I live. For money, it's just for staying alive, basically. And it's also a good opportunity to do certain things. So going traveling to countries, money is useful there, because without money, then, you know, you're gonna probably have to walk or swim across the ocean to actually find your destination. But money gives you a plane, and for you to get in that plane, go to that destination, all good.